Alright, everybody, another story from Bachi's Chronicles. I think there's been like 6 views on my 100 videos, so it's coming along slowly but surely. So I'm working for a company called Fields. They're a huge company. They own everything, and they got restaurants, drivers, gyms. I mean, just VIP celebrities, athletes, movie stars. They're all somehow involved. Like, everybody comes to this company for some kind of support in some way. They need investments to do a tour, or they're wanting to expand their business, or just whatever. Just we're the company that people come to for that little, $1 million loan or $500,000, little investment type thing. So, I want to tell you a story about meeting actually one of my best friends today, somebody I was totally honored to meet, and changed my life a lot. So I get a call from one of my friends, one of the other athletes that I'm taking care of, and he's like, "Hey, my boy's coming to town, but he needs a ride to Yokohama. He's playing in Yokohama. Could you pick him up? You just drive him down to Yokohama. You don't want to take a taxi there, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Yeah, sure. I mean, I have drivers. That's my job, is to support athletes or whatever, take care of them, just make those connections." I'm like, maybe it's a new client. You never know. I call the driver. I'm like, "Fix me up." I go to the train station. I meet this guy. He gets in the car, and you could tell he's just tired. He got like on the first train from where he was, 2-hour bullet train ride or whatever it was. And you could see he was just tired. And he gets in the car. I'm like, "Hey, I'm Bachi," and he's like, "Yo, hey, I'm AJ." And at first, he was, he wasn't a very talkative person. I'm new. He doesn't know who I am, anything like that. And I know the situation. So we're driving to Yokohama, and he's falling asleep, just catching up on his Z's, and I'm kind of dozing off too. It's early in the morning. So we get close to Yokohama, and he kind of gets up to get ready to, get to the hotel before he goes to the field. So we're talking a little bit. I'm like, "Yeah, he's like, how long you been in Japan?" And I'm like, "I've been here about, 15, 18 years, 20 years, I don't know." And he's like, "Oh, wow, I love this place. It's a great country. I love it. I'm having a blast." And we're just talking. And I'm like, "Well, I live in Yokohama, so after the game, if you want to go get something to eat, just let me know. I'll show you some good restaurants." He's like, "Okay, well, I think I have to meet some coaches tonight for dinner or something, some of the players, but if it gets canceled or it doesn't work out, I'll hit you up." I'm like, "Yeah." And he's a nice guy, but you could tell he had a big wall. He wasn't letting people in easy, and that's fine. Some people are like that. So we get to the hotel and drop him off, and of course give him my business card and like, "Here you go." And they're like, "All right, later." So as we're leaving the hotel, maybe 3-4 minutes later, I get a phone call from another friend of mine, one of my best friends, is a coach for another team. And he's like, "Hey, Bachi, after the game tonight, it's a day game. I think you want to go grab dinner." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure, but I might have to meet up with this guy, AJ, if it doesn't go through." And he was like, "Andruw Jones? Well, you met Andruw?" I was like, "I don't know if his name's Andruw Jones. I know his name's AJ. That makes sense. AJ, Andruw Jones. Yeah, I guess that's him." He's like, "Dude, that's Andruw Jones." And I'm like, "Okay, you've said that like 3 times, but what do you want me to do? What, is he a star here or something?" He goes, "Dude, it's Andruw Jones. You know who Andruw Jones is." And I was like, "Look, I know one Andruw Jones played for the Braves with Chipper Jones and all those guys. I know that Andruw Jones back in the day, but I don't know this guy. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not, he plays for the other league here. Is he somebody?" He's like, "It's the same Andruw Jones." He's getting mad at me on the phone. He's yelling at me, "Dude, it's the same Andruw Jones. That's the Andruw Jones from the Braves." I'm like, "Are you serious? Andruw Jones from the Braves?" Like back then, I mean, even though I don't watch baseball, Andruw Jones, I mean, when I was, because we're almost the same age, and it was like, there, he's already in the majors hitting home runs. And, I think he hit a home run in the World Series, like when he was 18 or 19. It's like some youngest ever to hit a home run. I don't remember. I'm sure you guys know more than I do. I mean, he's got Golden Gloves, 10, 11 Golden Gloves. I mean, I'm just like, that Andruw Jones? That's the guy I just met? He's like, yeah, he plays in Japan now. And I was like, wow, impressive. I mean, so after that night, we didn't meet up, and then about a week later, 2 weeks later, he calls me. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to be hitting Tokyo. If you're free, let's grab dinner." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, of course." So we go have dinner, nice restaurant, and I'm talking to him, and it's that Andruw Jones, Drew, AJ. He's got like 5 different names, and I'm just talking to him. I'm like, why are you in Japan? He's like, "I just want to play. I just want to play, and if I come, they told me if I come to Japan, I can play every day. And money is not good. I think he was making $3-4 million plus his career. He's had an amazing career, so it's not like the money was an issue. It was just he wanted to play. That was his whole thing. and they let him play here. So he was just, and he raked. That's the first and only time that that his team won the championship was when he played for it the first year. So throughout the season, we became very close. We became best friends, and he, I mean, I signed to be his like personal management in Japan. He trusted me right away, which was an honor because this is Andruw Jones. I mean, he's had Nike approach him, Jordans, I mean, he's had all these people he's dealt with them over the years, and he trusts me enough to, he signs personal man right off the bat. I remember one time I needed to go home for something. I don't remember what it was. It was like kind of a short notice, and I told him, I was like, look, I'm gonna be out of town for like a week or two because I need to fly home to take care of some personal stuff. So are you okay? If you need anything, call Chris or call these guys. They'll be here, if you need to be taken care of. And he was like, well, did you already get your ticket and everything? I was like, no, I got to go get it. Now I got to go figure out. And he was like, well, my friend is an agent, a travel agent. I'll hit him up and might be able to get you a good deal. What dates you plan on leaving? Where are you flying to? So I give him the information. I'm leaving. I wanted to leave like on this date, get back by this date, and I'm flying from here to, Springfield, Missouri, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about where the layover is, however long the layover is. It doesn't matter to me. Just get me there. So he's all right. Let me holler at my boy and see if I can hook you up with a good deal. I'm like, yeah, sure, thanks. And he calls me like 2 days later, and he's like, hey, I got something for you. You can come pick it up. So I go up to his house, his apartment up in his other area where he played, and he gives me plane tickets, first class tickets, all the way home, just all the way home, first class, there and back. And I'm like, what is this? And he was like, hey, I can, you needed to go home. You do a lot for me, so this is the least I can do for you. Now, that tells you a lot about a person, because of course first class tickets are not cheap, of course. I mean, and he's known me for like half the season already, and yes, I've done a lot of things, but the only thing I'm doing for him is picking him up, dropping him off, and going here and going there, and hanging out with him, which is more of an honor to me to hang out with him than anything. So he's like, well, you've done a lot for me, and that was just like, wow. There's a big difference between like people that were in the major leagues that spent their career in the majors, because they really take care of the people who take care of them. Then the other guys, you work for 12 hours and they give you a $5 tip, or they give you a pair of used shoes after you saved their contract. It's just, so it's a big difference. And I really realized that being around AJ, because the way he took care of people. I mean, we'd be in a restaurant and the driver would be in the car, and it's a nice restaurant. I'm talking $400 or $500 a head minimum. That's just for the basics. If you get anything over that, you'd be almost $1,000 a head. If you order champagne like Cristal or whatever, you're up in the way up there. So he's like, there's 3 seats, and I was like, who's coming? He was like, well, the driver, right? So I was like, no, the driver waits in the car. He don't come in. AJ is like, no, I'm not going to sit here and eat while that guy sits in the car. I'm just not going to do it. Tell him to come down. And I was like, okay, but it's going to be hard because Japanese drivers, that's not their job. They think that, so I called him. I was like, hey, come in. And the driver's like, no, it's okay. I'll wait in the car. I'm like, no, he wants you in here. This isn't a request. You have to come. He's like, no, it's, I wait in the car. That's my job. I'm like, look, he wants you in here. I'm not going to argue with you. I don't know what to tell you. Either you get in here or AJ's going to get mad. He said he'll take a taxi home. He's not going to use you again. And this kid loved baseball, and the fact that he's driving AJ around was just made his day. Because when I was at the company, I was like, hey, I got to take AJ out for the week. Who wants to drive? He was first hand up. So the guy puts the car in the parking. He comes down. He eats this like lobster steak, Kobe steak, the teppanyaki, where they cook the food in front of you. Which in America they throw the knives, and they make Mount Fuji, and the flames come out. Here it's not like that. It's just a grill, and they cook on it, but it's expensive. The kid was so happy, and then AJ was talking to him, trying to keep, did you play baseball? And this is Andruw Jones. He doesn't need to buy the driver food like dinner. I mean, he's earned that position in his life and his career that he can eat food and have the driver wait in the car. He don't need to talk to him and make conversations like, are you married? How long have you, did you play baseball? Where have you lived? I mean, he's just talking to this guy, and it's making this guy's life, like his dream come true kind of thing. And after that, of course, anytime AJ was in, it didn't matter if it was 4 in the morning or 12 o'clock at night. Anytime AJ was in town and needed a driver, that kid was on call. And AJ knew that. He knew that creating this relationship. He knew that he could always rely on this kid when he needed a driver. And so I was really like, wow, that's pretty amazing. I remember one time, and what time? We're 10 minutes. So okay, I remember one time I'm with a different player in Yokohama eating dinner, and AJ came down to Tokyo just all of a sudden after a game. He just decided to come down and go to eat at this really expensive restaurant. I mean, it's one of those restaurants. I don't even know how he got the reservation for it. Maybe through another player, somebody knew somebody or somebody. But this place is just expensive. And like I said, if you eat just the food and stuff, you're paying probably $1,000, $2,000 depending on what you eat. Like the steaks like $800, $900. Champagne, you know. So he comes down and he calls me. He's like, "Hey, Bachi, would you be interested in coming down and have dinner with me? I'm supposed to meet the owner of this restaurant, and I don't want to go alone." And I'm like, "Actually, I'm with so and so from another team, another player who's also one of my guys." And he's like, "Well, bring him along. He's a good guy, right?" I was like, "Oh, he's a great guy." He's like, "Oh yeah, bring him along." So I asked the guy. I was like, "Hey, AJ wants us to come down to Tokyo for dinner. Do you want to go? Because I'm with you today. So if you don't want to go, then And he's like, "AJ, who's AJ?" I was like, "Andruw Jones." She's like, "Are you serious? Andruw Jones? He's called. You gotta go. You can't say no to Andruw Jones." So he's like, "No, he's excited because he gets to meet Andruw Jones." So we go down to Tokyo and we go to this restaurant. It's a beautiful restaurant. I've never even been here before, and I don't even know how he knew it. And we're eating, and I mean, it's like they don't even put prices on the menu because they know you don't want to know after the bill comes. And they got bottles of wine from $2,000 to $200,000 bottle of wine. It's just crazy. So the owner comes, and the food is great. I mean, don't get me wrong, the food is amazing. We're eating, and we're going, and the owner sits down at the table, and he's talking to AJ. I guess he owned restaurants in LA and all over, and kind of thing. He was a big fan of AJ, so that's why he'd asked AJ to come. And so, of course, AJ is like, give us this bottle of wine. That's like, $6,000 bottle of wine. Yeah, get this bottle of wine. And I'm like, Jesus, that's like, $9,000 bottle of wine. I'm looking like, he's like, "Hey, Bachi, order another bottle of that whatever." And of course, he's just being nice because I guess that the owner of the restaurant, every time AJ comes to his restaurants, wherever in the States or whatever, he always took care of AJ. So, AJ was trying to, help out his new restaurant in Japan or whatever. So we're eating, we're drinking, and talking, and, AJ's going to catch like the last train home back to, it's like 10, 11 o'clock. So he's like, "All right, well," and they've had a few bottles of wine. And I guess the owner is an alcoholic, I'm going to say, because he could drink. So the check comes, and the other player I'm with, he's like, "Oh, and he puts up like $1,000. He puts up $1,000. And AJ's like, "No, don't worry about it. And he's like, "Well, no, let me pay. Let me chip in." And AJ's like, "Look, it's on me. I invited you guys. Don't worry about it." And the player's like, "Well, okay, And so AJ's like, he's like, "All right," because the player's very insistent. He's like, "No, seriously, just let me chip in." So AJ takes like, $200-300 from that, and he gives it to the waiter. He's like, "Here, a tip." And the other player was like, "Damn, $300 tip. Wow." And in Japan, tips, you don't tip. There is no tipping in Japan. It doesn't matter if it's a taxi, if it's a restaurant, there is no tipping. So if you ever come to Japan, there is no tipping. If you tip, they'll give you the money back. They don't tip. You can take you go to a hotel, you check in, the guy brings you bags, you don't tip him. He'll give you the money back. They get paid some normal salary like everybody else. They don't require tips. Don't tip. If you take a taxi, there is no tipping. You save a lot of money coming to Japan off no tips. I go to the States, and I just don't understand why I have to give this person 17-20% when they didn't even refill my Coke after the third time I asked, or I haven't seen them the entire dinner. That makes sense to me. When in Japan, they're there every 3 seconds pouring your drinks and stuff, and they don't even require a tip. But I understand they don't make the money and blah, blah, blah. It's a difference in pay. And I don't mind tipping you if you actually are good service. But you go to a restaurant and you keep raising your hands, "Excuse me, can I get a Coke?" And they're like, "Yeah, hold on 1 second. Wait." And I just like, they're waitresses. They just make you wait, or waiters. And, I don't get to drink. By the time I leave, I'm still drinking the same water I've been drinking for the last 20 minutes. And then I got to give them a tip. That's just frustrating for me. If you're good, I have no problem giving you a tip. So anyway, AJ gives the waiter a tip, and the waiter's like, no. And then the owner is like, "No, it's okay. Just, split it up between you guys." So, the bill comes and check, and AJ gives him a card, and, it's kind of sitting there. And I look to the player, and I'm like, "What's wrong?" Because he's kind of, and I thought he was kind of upset that, AJ gave his money to a tip. And he's like, "Bachi." And so, let me back up a second. So, after the bill was being paid, the player was like, "AJ, next time it's on me. I got you. Next time I'm paying. Okay?" And AJ's like, yeah, definitely. Don't worry about it. And he was like, no, next time it's on me. So he's sitting there and he's got this little like zoned out face, and and I thought that's because he gave the guy the tip, his money. And I was like, you all right? What's wrong? He was like, Bachi, how much was the bill? And I was like, it's $20,000. He's like, $20,000? Are you serious? And he's trying not to say it loud because he doesn't want to. He's like, dude, I can't pay that on next dinner. My wife will kill me if she finds out I spent $20,000 on a dinner. I don't have AJ money like that. I can't go out with him again. It was so funny because he's freaking out because and AJ would never expect him to pay that at a restaurant like that. This was a special occasion. But anyway, he's like, dude, if I pay $20,000 for dinner, my wife will kill me. I'm like, don't worry about it. He was like, no, I got to buy dinner. But damn, man, I'm going to have to talk to my wife about this one. I have to get a loan or something. And it was so funny that he was freaking out. And, of course, AJ just paid the bill because, he was there to help out his friend. And no big deal at all. But this guy was just like, I thought it was $2,000. That's why I was trying to pay $1,000. But then I noticed there was more zeros than what I'd seen. And I just didn't make sense. He said, $20,000. I said, yeah, some of those bottles of wine were a couple $1,000s. He's like, are you serious? Damn, what kind of restaurant? And a whole ride home, he was like, man, that was good food, but damn, $20,000. Like I said, it wasn't the food, it was the wine. They have some bottles in there. There's one bottle worth $200,000. So you got to be careful. And that was that. It was funny. I mean, just to see him just like stressed. Now, of course, we went to dinner a different time, and he did pay for it, but it was a normal dinner, not like some crazy, too many zeros on the thing. And it was fun. AJ was a great guy. We're still good friends to today. He comes to Japan. We do some charity stuff together. He's just amazing. Anytime I need help or anything, I know he's a person I can call and just like, hey, do you know this person, or can you help me, or can you connect me to this guy? And he'll do it in a heartbeat. All right, that's my Andruw Jones story. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll come back with some more. Thanks for watching.